Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Sanderlanche podcast. Today, we read 6 chapters of Oathbringer, Book 3 of the Stormlight Archive by Brandon Sanderson. We read chapters 90 through 95, and now we're going to talk about those chapters. In those chapters, I'm gonna take it by pieces, I guess. So, Szeth comes back. Dak was very excited about this, and does some testing to join the ranks of the Skybreakers, which I thought were some pretty cool chapters. And then back in I don't say the spiritual realm, the cognitive realm, Adolin, Kaladin, Shallan, and co. They do some working out. They do some hiking. Kaladin gets a flashback, even though it's Dalinar's book, and then Dalinar gets a flashback, which makes slightly more sense. So, lots of interesting stuff. I'm Data, and with me this week is
Joe
and Dak.
No Jamie this week. Sorry, y'all. We had to skip a week, and then we lost her, so it was sad. Not in. I mean, she's just not here this week.
She's still with us, Data. Just stop what you're doing.
She's fine.
But yeah, okay. Let's do this thing. Hang on to something, everybody. The Sanderlanche is about to begin.
Yearnings intertwined, the golden age in ashes once again. Under stirring stars, in the burning shards, kindle fragments of the falling rain. So look to the break of dawn, to the break of dawn. Stronger together now.
So we're jumping into part 4 this week solidly. We had a couple chapters last time, but 6 whole chapters this time. What did you guys think of these 6 chapters?
Man, Szeth being back was interesting. You know, I thought it would be charming to have Nightblood back, but I forgot how annoying Nightblood is. So it was fun, but at the same time, like, Nightblood, shut up. It's just like, and I get it. It's like a constant thing. But yeah, the Szeth stuff was really interesting. The Skybreakers kind of like doing a test for people to become Radiants in their order. Pretty interesting. I also liked the fact that, you know, the other orders aren't as organized, right, as the Skybreakers, because they haven't been formed. You know, they're not, a herald's not in charge of them, leading them around, telling them what to do, right? And so, like, the Stormfather seems to be making it very difficult on Dalinar to figure out like what his next steps are and stuff. And then the meanwhile the Skybreakers just lay it out and they're like, yeah, you do this, and then you do this, and then we'll work on this, and then this happens. And I'm like, oh, that's very clear. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah. Szeth's obviously, I think we kind of figured that Szeth's a pretty smart guy, so he kind of passes the test with flying colors because he's not unintelligent. The flashback was a little weird. It was almost like Brandon was like, I want a flashback here for Kaladin, but I don't want it to seem like it's actually a flashback. So we're gonna be in Kaladin's head, and he's just thinking about that time that this thing happened. And then we get the actual flashback with Dalinar, which was sad. I'll admit, I teared up at the end with his son, with Renner, and I was like, oh man, that's really sad. And then we're back in Shadesmar. I feel like, I as much as I like getting the Szeth stuff, I feel like I really want to keep reading about the Shadesmar stuff. I want to see what's going to happen to them. So it was chopped up a little bit. We didn't get a ton of information in any one place. So I'm ready to read more because I really enjoyed the Shadesmar bits, the Szeth bits. And I get narratively why Brandon does these different perspectives throughout the chapters, but I almost wish there was a way I could just read like the Shadesmar section and then just read the Szeth section kind of in all one chunk, because I just like, I want to know what happens. But anyway, no, good stuff. I liked it.
I gotta say about the flashback, the Dalinar flashback, that is, I will say, one bit that it gets me every time is when Renarin starts talking about like what his mom said about Dalinar, and I was like, oh my god.
Yeah, what he's saying about him, he hugs him, he brings him, even though he knows like his dad shouldn't have the drink, it's like he brings it to him anyway. It's like, obviously you need this. Yeah, every piece of it, and like the Dalinar internal stuff of like this stupid boy, and then he's just like, oh my gosh, my son. It's like, it's just it's a nice moment.
And I also agree the Shadesmar stuff is not that much happens in Shadesmar in this section, but it's clearly building to like, oh, hey, we're going to start seeing some stuff here.
Yeah.
So that's kind of exciting. I agree.
Yeah.
I think this section in particular leaves me being like, I want to see more. I want to see what happens next in that area. Yeah.
And I know at this point Brandon wasn't like crossing over his books super clearly yet, but at the same time, it's weird to me. And maybe in Secret History, it did describe this, and we just didn't know what we were reading. But like, it's weird to me that there's no Spren stuff. If this is where they live, like, there's no Spren stuff before we get to these books. I'm just like, that's weird, because we had Elantrians hanging out in Shadesmar, but we didn't like, to my knowledge, we didn't have any like Spren running around. So I'm like, man, that's something I feel like in Secret History we should have seen. But
yeah, if they're everywhere, for sure. Yeah.
Maybe they're only on the Roshar part of Shadesmar. I still don't know how it works.
Yeah, it's a little. I mean, we know Shadesmar does have the geography a little bit like the physical realm, but how anything really works here is still unclear for us.
Mm-hmm.
Also, you reminded me talking about Nightblood. I don't know if you noticed the shirt that I was wearing when I stopped by and saw you earlier, but here I'm going to put it in our chat because
I was not looking at your shirt. Let me see.
I hadn't been able to show you guys this shirt before, but I've had it forever.
Hello, would you like to destroy some evil today? Oh, that's awesome. And it's Szeth. That's great. I love that.
For anyone, well, for everyone listening, it's like
because you can't see it.
It's like the pixel art Szeth and Nightblood T-shirt that they did many years
ago. Put it up on the Instagram when this episode comes out.
I think you can still get it on Amazon if you're interested. But yeah, I can put it up on Instagram.
Oh, sweet.
I got mine not from Dragonsteel when they came out with it, but from Amazon, and the quality of the prints on the T-shirts that Amazon does is not nearly as good as what you buy directly from Dragonsteel, because it's like it starts flaking and stuff after a few washes. It's not
right.
Shocked to hear this. No, these chapters were really good. Yes, Szeth back. I'm happy. Nothing else could have happened, and I've been like, oh man, I'm all about this. I see Joe's point about Nightblood being annoying. I think maybe you've noticed it a bit more because, like, when we saw him in Warbreaker, he was with Vasha, who was telling him, "You're annoying, shut the fuck up." Whereas Szeth is kind of just like, "Hey, Sword, what do you think?" So, but it's an interesting little dynamic that Szeth and Nightblood have going on. Yeah, the Skybreakers, like, they're just they're organized. They've got their shit sorted. They talk it through with their people what they're doing. It's like, well, this is refreshing, open communication, even if it is we don't know what Nail's purpose is at the moment, what they're leaning towards. It does mention he had sort of a change of heart or something at one point, because like Szeth notes, he freaked out in whatever the city in Edge Dancer was and just left me there for a while before he came back to get me. And then he pissed off again. So I thought, okay, well, at least we acknowledged it. But yeah, no, I loved it. I lapped up that section, especially when Szeth got to draw Nightblood. I'm going, oh, shit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's very much a... Now that this is happening, I'm just like, you really have to read Warbreaker before you read Stormlight. Otherwise, things like that, like, the full scope of what that means is going to be lost on you. So, yeah. The other bits, honestly, Shadesmar, I'm kind of just like, I'm waiting for something more to happen, and maybe... Because as Joe said, it's like this is the realm of the Spren. Where are they all? Why? Like, show me some more weird fucky stuff going on. So there doesn't seem to be as much of that as I was expecting. So I'm kind of just like, come on, this is meant to be the realm where crazy shit happens. Make with the crazy, but surely that'll be forthcoming. Maybe this is the slow burn at the start of the horror movie before the real fucky shit starts happening. And yeah, the Dalinar flashback, utterly heartbreaking. I also got a bit emotional reading that one. Just Renarin getting his dues. Maybe not for the right reasons, but god damn it, Renarin's hasn't had the easiest life, and like, even if it's for giving booze to an alcoholic, he's getting acknowledged by his father. You get the feeling this hasn't happened probably since he was born. So yeah, my heart for Renarin. Poor guy.
Yeah, it's interesting because even in these flashbacks we've seen very little of Renarin. So to have him come in and have this dramatic moment, really, it does feel like a little bit cathartic, I think.
Yeah.
Back to the Nightblood Szeth stuff, though. Do you think that because he doesn't know Nightblood as well as we do, Szeth may be trusting Nightblood a little too much? Or, because you're right, he definitely is more open to hearing Nightblood's opinions on the stuff than Vasher ever was.
Yeah. And yeah, I'm not sure what to make of that. That's probably not going to bode well for the future. Maybe he's going to draw it at the wrong time. But we just don't know really. Maybe has Nightblood learned to behave himself maybe a little bit better? Probably not. But how much does Nail know? How much did Nail tell Szeth? What was you get the feeling Nail had some other purpose in giving this sword to Szeth specifically. Because like, if Nail really wanted to use him in a certain way, he'd do it himself, right? So I want to know what his reason is for giving him to Szeth specifically, and why Szeth and not one of his other acolytes. So yeah, more questions.
Yeah, that's a good point that I don't know that we talked about when we saw it happen, but well, where did Nail get Nightblood from is obviously a big question. Why give it to Szeth, like you said? I mean, all the other potential Skybreakers apparently have to go through the steps and say the oaths if they want to get a blade. That's what it seems to indicate here. So why is he like, Szeth, I'm going to give you this special magic sword? Like, there must be a reason, right?
Yeah. And like, part of me wants to say it's because of Seth's conviction that he would do the right thing with it, and therefore he wouldn't be tainted by the evil stuff. But I mean, at least until the events of Edge Dancer, Nail seemed to have that same conviction, so he should have been able to use it himself. Okay, because at the end of Edge Dancer, like his conviction took a massive blow to the head. So if he'd given it up after Edge Dancer, I could 100% see, he doesn't feel confident enough to use it anymore. Kind of like that period in the comics where Thor suddenly believed he was unworthy to wield the hammer, and then he couldn't. But he didn't. Nail gave up the sword before that happened. So yeah, there's some other purpose in giving it to Szeth, and Szeth specifically, and that scares me.
Probably should, right?
Yeah.
Especially after we see what it does in the section, because it's
yeah, that was fucked up.
At least we know that you can use something other than breath to power Nightblood.
Yeah, that's true. I assumed it was just investiture powered, so like it could use any type of investiture.
That does seem to be the case. I wonder if an Elantrian could draw like an Aeon to just like act as a battery or something.
Ooh, yeah, that'd be interesting. Or like just like a pool of door, like it just has like a pool inside, or I don't know.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I guess let's get into these chapters, y'all. We started with chapter 90, Reborn, and it is a Szeth chapter, which I said, hey, we're gonna get some Szeth chapters, and here we go. And the epigraphs from Hessi's Mythica, we're still in the introductory period where it's like, I'm going to tell you guys about what I know about the Unmade. We don't actually get any information here. And the chapter starts with Szeth trying to figure out what to call himself now. Not Szeth's son, not Szeth's son. No, he's not truthless. I guess I'm just Szeth. Okay. And we also find out, which we'd seen some evidence of before, that whatever Nail did to heal him, it didn't quite work all the way. His spirit is not exactly attached to his body as well as it once was. And you can see it when he moves around. He has like this afterimage, which we saw in Edge Dancer also, but we didn't see inside his head at that point.
We didn't really know what it meant, so we're just like, okay, that's just some weird power that I guess he has now. And now it's like, oh yeah, like my soul is actually lagging behind my body, or something.
Or yeah, which is bizarre. It kind of reminds me of, we know that, or I guess we're pretty sure that Kelsier's cognitive shadow is stapled into the physical body that he's in, probably with the spike that's in his eye. So Szeth's body just got like stuck back in, or Szeth's spirit or whatever got stuck back in his old body. Kind of like I guess that's what happens to Returned, is the shard sends them back super powered, but back into their own bodies. So maybe it's similar to that. And they are going to a little fortress that overlooks the Pure Lake, which, hey, we've been there once before, into the Pure Lake at least.
We love the Pure Lake.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't go as well for Szeth here as the last time we visited, but, you know, not as friendly. Nightblood's like, ooh, it's the lake. You should draw me. I would love to see the lake. Vasher says there are magic fish here. So I guess he traveled with Vasher at least a little bit in Roshar.
Yeah.
And Szeth's like, no, I was warned not to draw you except if there was an emergency. And only if I have a lot of Stormlight so you don't eat my soul. He's like, what? I wouldn't do that. I just destroy evil things. You're not evil.
Thanks for the vote of confidence, sword.
Right? Yeah.
It makes me think of the DBZ abridged, like the like the weird German alien guys. It's like, no, I wouldn't do that.
I mean, honestly, by a lot of metrics, Szeth could probably be considered evil.
Yeah, I mean, he's robot Santa, clearly. Just without the
The jolliness.
The jolliness and the self-awareness, or excuse me, the self-mobility. Like, he can't go around destroying what he considers evil on his own.
Mm-hmm.
So he needs somebody else to do that for him. Man, could you imagine if somehow they had made this sword with legs? It would destroy the entire Cosmere.
That would be terrifying. Yeah.
Oh, only as far as he could walk.
Yeah. He'd just run around and be like, "You're evil, right?" And they'd be like, "What?" He'd be like, "Great." And they'd kill him.
Well, presumably he doesn't need to like sleep or eat or anything. So
Yeah.
Well, he would need arms in the hilt as well, so he could pull the sheath off himself.
true.
Yeah.
Or he's just to like flip upside down for a minute and try to get the sheath off.
He just wiggles out of it.
But the funny thing is, even Szeth doesn't know why Nail gave him this freaky sword. He's like, I assume I'm supposed to be learning something from this, but I'm not sure what. So we're not the only ones in the dark about that. And Szeth is kind of lumped in with a bunch of other hopeful Skybreakers. It says there's like 50 of them here. So there's a lot of guys around, although maybe they're accelerating their recruitment now that the new desolation has begun or whatever. And Seth's like, okay, I'm going to join this group, get my ability to fly back. He'll have slightly different powers, I guess, because he had Windrunner powers before, and now he's going to go for some Skybreaker powers. But one of the surges is the same, at least, the gravity one.
I mean, it tracks that a group called the Sky Breakers would have the flying power.
Yep. And he's trying to think like, can I trust myself with this? And the sword's like, oh, hey, I think you're super trustworthy. I'm a great judge of people. And Seth's like, yeah, wasn't talking to you, Sword Nimi. I like how he calls him Sword Nimi. It's like, I know you weren't talking to me, but you were wrong, so I had to tell you.
What does Nimi mean? Do we know?
Hold on. Let me see if we... What does Nimi mean? It's an honorific, kind of similar to the Japanese san, or like the Korean nim, N-I-M, which is probably the inspiration this is.
Yeah.
All right. Somebody else goes, Nimi also means name in Finnish. All right, cool. Oh, hey, somebody actually asked Brandon. Yeah, he said it's just an honorific. It doesn't particularly mean anything. And then they're like, well, why does he call it sword and not call it like Nightblood? And Brandon says, it has not told him its name. That's weird. Why would he be keeping that a secret?
Also, I thought, is that not how they got introduced? Did he just say, hello, would you like to destroy some evil today?
Yeah, he just said, hello, would you like to destroy some evil today? Yeah, that's it.
Does Nightblood know his own name? Did Vasher ever refer to him by name? Does he? Maybe he doesn't know he has one.
That would be hilarious, actually. Yeah.
Also, Nightblood doesn't seem to have a good sense of time, space, and so he may know his name but forgotten it. You know,
that's true. Yeah.
And Nightblood's like, hey, the voices seem quiet today. That's nice, right? So apparently he can hear the voices that are in Szeth's head, which that's a weird additional level of messed up. All those people he murdered. So, okay, the lady who's like, Nail's gone. And Nightblood's like, hey, this lady's boring. Where's Nail? You said he was boring too, Sword Nimi. Yeah, but interesting things happen around him. But so this lady says, okay, you guys have already completed the first part of your training. You traveled with Skybreakers and joined them in one of their missions, which I assume is what we saw in, I believe the city was Yedaw, when in I almost said Oathbringer. This is Oathbringer, Edge Dancer. Vasher always drew me, the sword says. That's not true, dude.
Yeah, that's definitely not true.
Stop talking about your ex.
And the lady has them all say the first ideal of the Knights Radiant, the life before death, strength before, and so on and so forth. And then says, in speaking this ideal, you're officially pardoned for any past misdeeds or sins. We have the paperwork signed by the proper authorities here. So he is officially pardoned for all those murders that he did. It's all good.
That's so random. Also, who has the power to do that? Just that country, I guess? Because he's not pardoned in the Alethi region where Dalinar is. Dalinar's not pardoning him.
I would not think so, yeah. Taravangian would be pretty dumb to pardon him also. So for as he's ruling Yakoved, and Szeth murdered the king of Yakoved. But
I really want to know if Taravangian knows he's alive, if that's in the diagram or not, or if one day Seth's going to show up and Taravangian, even all his smartness, is just going to go, "Oh no."
That's true. Everybody that we know thinks Szeth is dead. So yeah. I feel like there's no way the diagram predicted the battle that he and Kaladin fought in the sky based on the things that we saw in the diagram.
Yeah, but we just don't know how much smart Taravangian knows and how much is written in that thing.
True. And so they start talking about the other ideals. Like, if you want to be able to fly, you're going to have to speak the second ideal. After that, it's going to be the third ideal, which the ideal of dedication. And that's how you become a full Skybreaker. And so it's like, wait, we can just know what the ideals are? Like, yeah, no games here, man. You got the ideal of radiance, the ideal of justice, which is to seek and administer justice. And then you can't do the third one until you've bonded a high spren. And then someday, maybe, you'll even get to the fourth ideal, the ideal of crusade, where you choose a personal quest and complete it to the satisfaction of your high spren. So that's kind of neat. And then the fifth ideal is you become the law. I am the law.
I am the law.
Mama's not the law. I'm the law.
That's funny.
He was such a good dread.
He was, as opposed
I
to I am the law.
I never saw the second Dread.
Did you not? It's great, man.
It's a really good movie. I am honestly crushed that they never made a sequel, because he was so good. Much I have a kind of a fondness for the Sylvester Stallone one, because I was in the hospital for a week and my mom went and rented me one movie that I could watch, and that was the movie. And so I saw that movie a lot when I was.
Were you in the hospital a whole week when you broke your arm?
Yeah, the second time I broke my arm, it was.
I don't remember that.
And that was like sixth grade, and I was I watched that movie like a bunch of times that week. So I have a bit of a soft spot for it. But
you got to enjoy the comedy duo of Stallone and Rob Schneider.
Rob Schneider.
But the newer one, he's such a better Dread, just overall.
I mean, low bar, but
well, yeah, fair. I mean, the fact that he never even takes off the helmet, like, come on.
Yeah,
I am the law now.
But anyway, so when you swear the fifth ideal, you become the law. And she's like, yeah, nobody's done that for centuries, so don't obsess about that, because it's probably not going to happen. And it's like, okay, so now we're going to take you to a place where you're going to do another test. And Seth's like, hey, Nail said that I was kind of different and special and stuff. Do I really need to go with these kids to do this test? And I love that she isn't upset that he's questioning her or anything. She's like, just explains. Like, yeah, he originally thought maybe you could skip straight to the third ideal because of your past, but he's not here now, and we can't really judge, so we're just going to put you on the same path as everybody else.
I mean, and to be fair, that's a good explanation. It's like, he's having a moment, and we can't, do anything different because we don't know what else we would do, so you're just going to have to do this.
And Szeth is also completely satisfied. And she's like, well, you're not going to complain or anything? He's like, no, it's orderly. You explained it well. Why would I complain? And then all the Skybreakers sitting around nodding like, yeah, that's good.
It's like, this is the kind of guy we need. He gets it.
I fucking love Szeth.
Yeah. And then we end the chapter with them flying to their next test. And Nightblood's like, man, I like it up here. You can see everything. He's like, wait, can you see? And not like a man. You see all kinds of things. Except, unfortunately, how useful I am. He's really pushing. Like, come on, draw me. You know you want to draw me. Come on.
Have we gotten to the part yet where Szeth talks about his soul shadow?
I think that was the beginning of that chapter. Yeah, we touched on it a little bit.
Dude, that's messed up. I just have to say, just walking around and you have a constant after image, which I know Lyft talked about that previously, but we were kind of like, huh, what's up with that?
Yep. Now we know it's because his soul is not quite in there right. It's somehow, I guess when you die and if it's a soul, it could, he might have turned into a cognitive shadow, just like Kelsier, and then got shoved back in there. And
Nail's not quite that good at the soul surgery.
Well, I mean, he was using a device, so
Yeah.
he can
Also,
only do what it
who
can
made
do.
this Fabrial? What? Like what?
That's a good question. I think we still don't know much about who made or how they were made. The
Oh,
soul casters either. Like
Yeah,
those are
that's
hold
pretty
on,
true.
curious.
hold on. It just like the thing that just occurred to me when you put it that way is just like, hang on a minute, is this what the fucking Fused are doing with the bodies of like the new the listeners, Parshendi? Like
That's
they're just
not
putting like vacant souls back in the bodies. That's just what Nail's doing.
Yeah,
Or what he
that's
did.
it's not a bad conclusion to draw. The only thing I would say maybe is different is it's got like with the Parshendi, I feel like maybe it has more to do with like gem hearts and Spren
That's
than
true, yeah.
than like Fabrial souls, whatever.
Or maybe that's why it didn't work properly because it's not meant to work on humans.
Ooh, interesting.
That would be interesting, actually. Yeah. Although honestly, if there's a Fabrial going around that, because we've seen plenty of soul casters out there, if there's another one that like heals people, I feel like that would have been useful for other people to have.
Navani's going to hear rumors of this thing, just like, where? I must have it.
She's gonna go on a quest to find the healing Fabrial. I bet she would. That's her
Crowbar the soul back into a corpse? Fuck yeah.
So the second chapter we had is 91, Why He Froze. And this person is who wrote the Mythica is, I assume Hesse wrote Hesse's Mythica, but I'm convinced the Unmade were still Spren and were as such manifestations of concepts or divine forces just as much as they were individuals. So okay, cool.
I mean, that sort of tracks for, you know, what we know of Spren. They all have personalities and motives and stuff. But also, like, it's not a stretch to apply that to the shards as well.
Well, and not all Spren have like personalities and stuff. The lower Spren, like, you know, a flame Spren or fear Spren.
Oh, yeah, sure. But you know, like all the ones that bond to people have some personality. We know that quite well. So, and the Unmade are a step above them in power, so it makes sense they would be as well. But again, the shards, like, they're just like, it's literally in their names. They're manifestations of concepts.
It's true. They very much are.
So, Unmades are just, you know, shard wannabes.
I like that way of putting it. Okay. This is where it's like Kaladin remembered cleaning Krem off the bunker floor while he was in Amaram's army. So basically they were practicing and he froze, and his sergeant Tux punished him by condemning him to scrape Krem off the whole floor. And then the sergeant comes, he's like, hey man, don't feel bad. Everyone, you know, pulls back at first, or not everyone, but it's not uncommon to freeze. That's why we practice. So you get your freezing out here, but not in the middle of a battle. It's okay to be scared. And Callan's like, I wasn't scared. That's not why. I wasn't scared of getting hurt. And if he has to kind of prod him about it, but eventually he's like, look, I was scared of hurting someone else. It's like, oh, okay. That's a different sort of problem, but also not really uncommon. We can work on that. This guy seems like a pretty decent sergeant. He also tracked down Tien for Kaladin. He's like, yeah, he's over in the 7th.
Seems like a nice guy.
Maybe I can get him transferred over here. And also, he's like, hey, everybody, like, I think you're going to find that now that you've finally gotten a punishment too, that the rest of your squad's going to be a little nicer to you.
He's like, basically, you've been too goody-goody, too good at being a soldier, and people don't like you.
And it turns out he was exactly right. They were all nicer and more welcoming to him than they'd ever been before after he finished his punishments. So, and at the very end of that section, we get like even what he told Tux wasn't the truth. It wasn't that he was afraid of hurting someone else. It was that he realized he could hurt someone else, that he could kill someone, and that freaked him out. And it kind of makes sense. Like, you know, we've seen Kaladin fight. But then it cuts back to him in Shadesmar, just like still not in a good place. We can see the fear Spren crawling along the banks of the Sea of Beads with their little purple antenna wiggling around. And everyone else is asleep, but Kaladin can't. And Syl's like, oh yeah, Pattern is watching over them. She doesn't like cryptics as a rule. And Kaladin's like, hey, he's nice. And she goes, yeah, that's why it's strange. Like, a nice cryptic, ugh.
I wonder what the normal other cryptics are like.
Yeah, that's a good question. We haven't met any other ones. And then he sees like some spren flying overhead.
We might have met another one if Moash hadn't fucked it up.
That's true. We could have another one with us right now.
Fucking Moash.
But these weird.
With our
These
luck, that cryptic would be like super bloodthirsty and weird.
Let's kill him. Let's get him. It's like Nightblood. Like, let's get
it's
him.
like, burn the house down, laddie. Burn them all.
No, you know what you must do.
It's like I look for patterns in the flame.
It's like lies are good, but have you ever considered murder?
Oh boy. I don't know why this one just popped in my head. It's like I whittles what I see. Sometimes I whittles the future.
I would be okay with a cryptic who whittled the future. That would be really interesting, actually.
That's just an offshoot of practicing his stabbing.
Practicing my stabbing, Red. So these flying things are have these weird heads that float in front of their body, and Kaladin realizes, oh, those are glory spren. Like the heads, the little balls of light are what we see on the other side. So we're seeing more and more what spren look like over here as opposed to over there. And then there's a discussion about how mortals need sleep. Spren do not, even on this side where they're from. So we don't sleep, we don't eat. I think we might feed off of humans, actually, your emotions or how you think about us. And we learn a little bit about how Syl came to Kaladin and some of her history here, which is kind of cool.
So is Syl saying she's like a white vampire from Dresden Files, or what is she talking about?
It sounds a little bit like that, right?
Yeah, except not as like soul sucking.
Not as sexy,
I'm waiting for like the granddaddy of fear spren, and it's just Pennywise.
Yeah. She transferred to the physical realm, even though the Stormfather, her father, didn't want her to. And he's like, "Oh, could you do it again? Could you like go back and talk to Dalinar?" And she's like, "No, my bond is to you," and so I couldn't really like go back. And she wants to talk about what happened. Like, you were basically catatonic. And he's like, "No, it's fine. I just lost my focus. It won't happen again." And she's like, "Dude, something is wrong, but I don't know what it is. We need to work on this." He's like, "No, I was just surprised about Saw and Moash and all that stuff." And then the chapter ends with the others starting to wake up. It's like, okay, well, we've got something to focus on now. I guess it's actually the next section of them that we learn some more about Syl's history. Hesi in the Mythica for the chapter Water Warm as Blood, which is a very dramatic name. The most important thing I want to make sure that people understand, the Unmade are still among us. It's clear to me that some of their effects are common in the world right now. So I think we already knew that. We've seen and talked to some of them, but good to know that other people were aware. And we go for the Skybreaker test, which there's a prison on the shore of the Pure Lake, and this guy was being paid by the nearby kingdoms to keep their prisoners there for them. But the prisoners have escaped, and they're all like murderers and stuff. Like, these are all bad criminals.
Good. That's what you want to hear.
The Skybreakers are here to hunt them down. And some of the newbies just are like, okay. Like, they tell them how to find them. Like, they're out here somewhere. You'll know them. They have tattoos on their foreheads. Find them and deal with them. And a lot of the newbies are like, okay, they don't need any more information. They're gone. Szeth, however, is like, and a couple of the others, like, hold on. Let's ask some questions here. How did this guy know to send for us? And she's like, oh, we've been expanding our influence now that, things have changed some. The local monarchs have accepted us as a unifying martial force and given us legal authority. So that's kind of a big deal. And the report says that all of these convicts are dangerous murderers. Your task is to find the guilty and execute them. We have writs ordering their deaths. Okay. Are all those who escape guilty? Yes. Several more people leave. Szeth still is like, hold on, they're still... Why weren't they executed if they're all murderers? And it's like, yeah, there's a bunch of idealists around here. They have a weird non-violent attitude towards criminals. I don't know what's that.
Non-violent, I mean, come on. Guilty until proven innocent, am I right?
But the murderers have escaped, so mercy has been withdrawn. They are to be executed, which is enough for everybody but Szeth, who's still kind of like, But eventually, he's like, okay, and he kind of heads off. And Nightblood's like, oh, come on, man, you're way behind everybody. Let's go catch us a guy. And then Szeth says something that I feel like is real weird. I knew a voice like yours once, Sword Nimi. What, the whispers? No, a single one in my mind when I was young. I hope things go better this time.
For me, this was like the why he became truthless. He must have been bonding to a spren in Shinovar, and because his people are like, no, that can't happen anymore. That's like why he became truthless or whatever. That would be my guess. Because what other voices would you be hearing, right? I feel like that's got to be it. That's like why he because we know like he's like, no, I'm not truthless anymore because my people said this couldn't happen, but it's obviously happening. And so when he met Kaladin, that is, and so I feel like he must have been bonded to one or was in the process of doing that, and then his people were like, nope, that can't happen. You're a liar.
I wonder if that was the case. Like, what kind of spren would young Szeth be bonding? He really liked the flying power, so it could have been like an honor spren or it says the Skybreakers do high spren. These are the two that can fly, so I guess it could have been one of those. But there's 10 possibilities. Okay, sorry.
Also, I mean, it's also interesting. It's all tied up into truth, and what's the cryptic's whole thing is lies. So,
also true. Yeah, Szeth as a Lightweaver might have been interesting. But anyway, so Seth's heading out here to look for one of these prisoners, and Nightblood's like, "One, come on, be more ambitious." And this is where Seth's like, "Look, I don't know why he gave you to me," and Nightblood's like, "Well, because you need help. I'm good at helping. He said I was never to let you leave my presence." Seems more like a burden than an aid. Did Nin, Sun God, give you to me so I could practice resisting your encouragements? Or because he thought I was just as bloodthirsty as you? And Nightblood's like, well, I'm not bloodthirsty, I just want to be useful. And then I love when the Nightblood starts questioning Szeth's past. It's like, but you killed a bunch of people, right? And Szeth's like, well, I was sworn to obey. And Nightblood's like, by a magic rock. Like, when even Nightblood is like, come on, man.
He also doesn't really have a leg to stand on. It's like, oh, really? The magic rock told you to obey, yeah? And now the magic sword is telling me to kill.
Yeah, right. Eerily similar, maybe. I don't know. I mean, the rock never literally told him anything, but
makes it even worse, really, for Nightblood.
But Nightblood actually, I feel like, makes some good points here, which I didn't expect from him. Where he's like, "But you're supposed to pick a path to follow. What if you just pick the wrong one? Wouldn't you maybe just like kill people you don't want to kill again? Why not just find evil and destroy it?" And he's like, "Okay, so what is evil, Sword Nimi?" Like, I'm sure you can spot it. You seem smart. But Szeth pretty quickly finds one of the guys hiding in like a tangle of trees and stuff, and the guy tries to kill Szeth. He has an improvised dagger, it says. And the sword's like, finally! All right, here's what you do. Fight him and win. Thank you so much, Nightblood. Very helpful. And actually, I feel like, given what an amazing fighter Szeth is, like, this didn't go as well as I expected it to. Like, he kind of takes some hits and almost gets stabbed.
Well, he's so used to using his lashings and stuff. Like, it's like he has to completely reinvent his fighting style.
And I like at one point he goes down and into the water, and Nightblood's like, "This isn't winning. Come on, do what I told you." But fortunately, this guy is pretty scrawny and weak, so Szeth does get the upper hand on him. And eventually, he uses Nightblood. He doesn't draw him. He beats the guy up with the sheath. It says he hits the guy in the back with a sickening crunch, and the guy falls down into the lake. And Nightblood's like, "I guess that's okay. You should have just used me in the first place." And Szeth pulls the guy out of the water to question him, and apparently he's like broken his back. The guy's like, "I can't feel my arms and legs," which, geez, that sucks. But what Szeth wants to know is, did anyone else help you escape? And the guy's like, "No. Why would you ask that?" "Wait, yes. Who do you want me to say helped us? I'll say whatever you want."
Wow, messed up.
You're right. "We shouldn't have killed the guard. I just wanted to see the sun again." And Szeth just drops the guy back in the water to drown, which is real fucked up, honestly. And Nightblood calls him out on it, like, that was mean. And he's like, it's better than feeding him to a great shell. That's what happens to criminals around here. They'd make him wrestle the hog. And Nightblood mentions, like, Vivenna used to tell me that cruelty is only for men, as is mercy. Only we can choose one or the other, and beasts cannot. And Seth's like, wait, you count yourself as a man? Like, no. But sometimes she talked like she did. And then he talks about Shishara after she made him and had arguments with Vasher. And Seth's like, Shishara? That sounds like Shalash. Huh. Who we just recently talked about, Shalash, I think. So that's interesting, too.
Remind me? I was confused during that part.
Well, I mean, Shishara, we know that's Vasher's wife who helped make Nightblood. But Shalash...
Oh, yeah, that I know, yeah.
Shalash is one of the heralds, and you guys theorize that she might be the one that was destroying art. Because...
Oh. Well, then it probably wouldn't... Well, no, yeah, so it couldn't be... It couldn't be both of those things, because she's dead.
Honestly, I don't think Shishara sounds that much like Shalash in the first place. They're a little bit similar, sure, but
Yeah, I think Szeth is just like clutching at straws of what he knows. I think it's just a quinky dink.
And Szeth says he's not going to go look for any more. He only had to find one. He's now going to test and learn some more important facts, like how smelly convicts are. And he goes, "Yeah, actually, that is part of the secret." And he goes up and looks at the jail where they were being kept, and basically it is a nasty, horrible place. There's only one guard guarding all these guys, and they're living like in cells, no light, basically just squalor. And so he turns around and he goes back and says to the guy who was in charge, "Did you really just have one guard for all the prisoners?" And dude's like, "Who are you to question me? A Shin stonewalker? Go back to your stupid grass and dead trees."
Rude.
Right?
Oh man, you shouldn't have done that.
And he says, like, these men were mistreated, locked in darkness, not given enough food. What happened to all that money you were being given to administrate this facility? I don't have to listen to this. And he turns toward the Skybreaker lady, and he's like, "Do you have a writ for the execution of this guy?" And she goes, "Yeah, that's the first one we got." And he's like, "What?" He starts
Wait, what
freaking out.
Yeah, as you would. It's like, wait,
Yeah.
what? It's like, yeah, man, you gonna die now.
You done fucked up.
And he pulls Nightblood. He draws him, which a bunch of things happen at once. There's a rushing sound, like 1,000 screams, a wave of power. The colors around him start to deepen and grow more vibrant.
Yeah, so this is cool, not weird at all. Normal
Yeah,
sword wielding.
Did we see Nightblood get drawn in Warbreaker? I know we came across the aftermath of it quite a lot.
A few times, I think. I think Vasher did it 2 or 3 times.
I think we saw him drawn once.
Oh, was it
if
only
I'm
once?
remembering right.
I thought it was more than that.
I know, like, Nightblood got picked up by people who drew him all the time, and even they might have only drawn him like part way out of the sheath.
Yeah,
Like,
he came part way out several times.
Yeah, like
Okay.
I don't remember him being pulled all the way out and then just straight up being used to stab a guy.
But in the big, like, not the final battle, but in like the semi-final battle, I guess you would call it, Vasher draws Nightblood to take on a bunch of dudes. When he slices them, it says, I think it was like even a small like nick, and they turn to smoke.
Oh,
And
that's right, yeah.
He stabbed a wall with it one time, and just like a giant section of wall vanished.
That's right.
Yeah, it was a whole thing.
Yep.
And he hears Nightblood's voice, "Destroy evil!" And he stabs the dude, and it says flesh and blood puffed instantly into black smoke. It seemed to sear away even the man's soul. Meanwhile, veins of black liquid crept up Szeth's hand and arm, which is deeply disturbing, and he has to shove the sword back in the sheath. And slowly the blackness evaporates from his flesh, leaving the skin below bleached to a gray white. So yeah, that's drawing Nightblood is dangerous. It's what I'm getting from this. And Szeth's like, it says a lot of his light is completely gone, even from that momentary stabbing a guy. He's like, I'm going to have way more Stormlight if I ever do that again. And everybody here, the townspeople, the squires, even the master Skybreakers, are looking at him with horror. Like, what the hell did we just see? So I guess they never saw Nail draw it, if he did, while he had it. I mean, Nail at least knew that it would use up Stormlight if he used it, so it seems to me like maybe he drew it at some point, but we don't know where he got it or where he got the knowledge he had. So
You could have put a warning label on this thing. Do not use without shit tons of Stormlight.
and then they wait up a bit to see who else comes back, and Nightblood kind of wakes up from he was kind of sleeping or something. It's like, oh, did you draw me?
Yeah, he had a big day.
Yeah. Did we destroy lots of evil? He's like, yeah, a great and corrupt evil. Wow, I'm impressed. You know, Vivenna never drew me even once, and she carried me for a long time, maybe a couple of days even.
I know. We talked about Dragon Ball Abridged earlier. Nightblood is just like Nappa from that show. Did you draw me, Vegeta? Yes. Hey.
And we get another view of how Nightblood has no concept of time. Seth's like, how long do you think I've had you? At least an hour. 1 or 2 or 10,000, something like that. And Master Kai or Ki, whatever her name is, the lady who's been in charge here, is like, Szeth, son Naturo, I've decided to take you on as my squire. Honestly, it was kind of like all of us wanted you. We had to figure out who was going to get the privilege. And he gets to swear the second ideal. And there's a little talk about, like, you knew how horrible things were here. Why didn't you do something about it before it got to this point? And she's like, okay, so it's a fine distinction, but technically he had not broken any laws until the prisoners escaped.
They don't have laws against embezzlement?
It says that he was the one allowed to judge if his methods were satisfactory or not.
Well, that seems like a foolish power to place with someone.
Yeah, right? So you get to you're your own oversight. Yeah, that always goes so well.
Mm-hmm.
And so Szeth swears his second ideal, to seek justice until he finds a more perfect ideal. And now he can fly again. And that's where we leave him for this time.
Yay! Szeth's back, baby.
Yeah. And then we go to the chapter Kata, where Hesi says, Traxel mentions Yelegnar named Blightwind in an oft-cited quote. Though Yasna Kholin has famously called its accuracy into question, I believe it. So I love that this is a modern scholar, I guess, and it's like, yeah, you know, Yasna says that maybe this quote's not right, but I think it is.
Okay.
And Adolin wakes up with a crick in his neck and a pain in his back. That should be familiar for Dak today.
Nobody's going to
no
get that.
You have no idea.
10,000 years give you such a crick in the neck.
Oh.
He wakes up and he's, not feeling great. And he's honestly still kind of preoccupied about the fact that he murdered Sadeas and how's he supposed to feel about that. And then he sits up and there's the Spren with scratched out eyes is just like looming over him. And he's like, oh, geez, do you have to stand so close?
The whole thing about Sadeas' murder, it's like there was such a big part in the start of the book and has kind of fallen by the wayside here. So at least we're getting reminders every so often because you're just like, have we just forgotten about that? No? Okay.
We're not in Urithiru much right now, so
I guess.
presumably the investigation is ongoing.
So somewhere Eli's just going, why won't anyone fucking take me seriously?
Because nobody likes you or your dead husband, okay?
I was going to say, it's like, because you appointed Amaram.
Well, yeah, okay, that too. And like Adolin eventually is like, I guess maybe I'll make conversation. And he looks at his Spren like, hey, what do you think of all this? And she doesn't say anything, but he's like, I talk to my sword a lot regardless, so this isn't really any different. And I love his thought that it's like, I'm being childish, aren't I? So things moving in the world make me look insignificant now. That's just like a child growing up and realizing he isn't the center of the universe, right? Problem was, his life had been the center of the universe growing up. Welcome to being the son of Dalinar Storming Blackthorn. And to calm down, he goes and does his morning kata. He doesn't have his sword because, well, he has her. He can't make her a sword right now. But still, it helps him to loosen up and stuff. And then he sees Azure, and she comes down and starts doing the same kata. And then Kaladin shows up, and he starts doing it too. Even though he's not as good as the other two at it. And he's like, oh, he must have learned it from Zahel, because that's where Adolin learned it.
Just interesting, okay, we've seen Nightblood recently. We mentioned Zahel, who we know is Vasha, and we've got Azure here, who the guys think is Vivenna, and Vivenna got the mention, from Nightblood as well. It's like, all the Warbreaker people converging, apparently.
Yeah.
I still am not sold on Azure as Vivenna.
I don't know. They keep talking about her hair changing color. She is doing the same kata as that, Vasher basically taught Kaladin and Adolin. Like, I don't know why we wouldn't think she's Vivenna at this point.
I will say,
I guess my thought is, who else could she be?
I've got no other candidates, but like she doesn't strike me. She doesn't seem like Vivenna to me, unless Vivenna's seen some serious shit since we last saw her.
we
is
don't
possible,
know
I
exactly
guess.
how long ago that was, so she could have. Yeah,
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah,
It's been a while.
it's like I don't see the Vivenna, even the one at the end of Warbreaker, fucking leading the city wall guard.
Mm.
But who knows what's happened in between?
I will say the first time I read this book, it never even occurred to me that until we get to the part where she's like, "Oh, I've traveled in Shadesmar before." I think even then I was like, "Oh, is she from this planet, but she just knows how to get to Shadesmar?" I was going so quickly that I didn't stop and consider, like, wait, is she from someplace else? Until this chapter, when it really draws attention to the fact, like, Adolin learned this thing from Vasher, Kaladin learned this thing from Vasher. How does she know this thing? And at that point, I, for the first time, was like, wait a second. Is this Vivenna? I don't know that makes any sense, but could it be? And so I was in the sort of the same place you guys are when we got to this point.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, like, to me, what would be all these things are pointing to she knows Vasher. What would be the point of having a tertiary character that we don't know from Warbreaker? Who knows Vasher if it's not Vivenna? Like, what would be the point of introducing that character? I guess.
Hmm.
Could be like
Because
Jules.
I guess, but we know Brandon, like, reuses characters, right? Even, like, he had that short story that he then put her in the Lost Metal. Like, it doesn't make sense to me that he wouldn't reuse Vivenna if he's already reused Vasher and Nightblood, and now we have this other person who knows Vasher.
Yeah, she says she learned this kata from her sword master, so
yeah, I guess that tracks. Mainly because Vasher is just an antisocial bastard. It's like, who else would get close enough to him to learn?
How many people does he know? He's so antisocial. Even in this place, he's like, yeah, I don't like messing around with the other monks. I like doing my own thing. Yeah. It's like, oh, great. Yeah. Now I got to train this kid too. Great.
Well, and on Roshar, women wouldn't even be allowed to learn the sword. So,
yeah, that's true.
The fact that she's like, yeah, I learned this from my sword master.
Yeah, they've already made a big deal about that.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, we already assumed she's from Nalthus because of all the color stuff she was on about. But yeah.
And then Azure's like, yeah, whatever. Like, they're weird about women. I don't really care. One way or the other, if they want to call me a man.
I mean, maybe it's just a really common, like, kata on Nalthus, and so Vasher would be the only one that could teach Adolin and Kaladin, and somebody else from there might have picked it up anywhere. We don't know. But
I don't see it, especially because they also keep drawing attention to her hair changing, which we know.
Yeah.
There's only two characters that we've read about that can do that, and one of them is married to Susabron.
I mean, presumably Vasher and any of the returned could do it because we find out that he can change what he looks like. But
that's true. I forget about that. I don't know. They keep drawing attention to the hair specifically, though.
Yeah,
that's fair.
You're not wrong. Yeah. And so after Shallan calls him, like, what are you guys dancing? Even though she knows exactly what it is because Adolin has shown her this same kata. They decide they're going to evaluate their supplies real quick. They got some gemstones, a little bit of Stormlight left, not a whole lot of food or water for that matter. Like, we've got 3 canteens, but 2 of them are pretty close to empty at this point, so... And Azure says, last time I crossed Shadesmar, it took 4 weeks, so that's not great. And Kaladin is like, well, we're going to go back to the city through the Oath Gate, right? Like, they need us. We can't just leave them. And everyone's like, dude, like, that's not a good idea. The city is done, dude. And Azure says there's another way, because Syl calls out, like, they're not going to... The Spren are corrupted. They're not going to let us through. Or Pattern, I guess, says that. The Spren of the Oathgate are bad now, Pattern says. And Azure says that there's another way between the realms. I've used it. I'm from a faraway land. I came to Roshar by crossing this place, Shadesmar. But why? I came chasing someone, a friend, a criminal. So, all right. And she says that she's not even really a soldier. She just, in Kolinar, saw that somebody needed to do the job and no one else was stepping up to do it. So, and there's the cultivation's perpendicularity is at the Horn-Eater Peaks. That's the way between realms.
So, though I don't know, just the way this was said, are all the perpendicularities created by cultivation? Is that what we're to understand? Or is it she specifically saying the one for cultivation that goes to this Roshar area is here?
I mean, it sounds to me like this is specifically cultivations. Like this perpendicularity at the Horn-Eater Peaks is the one that belongs to her. That's the way I read it, at least.
Yeah, that's what I thought as well. It's like all this, like they all have on their worlds a location of their power, because that's why when Kaladin fucked up the Atium growing in the rifts of Hathsin, like that was ruin spot because that's where his body was. That was the Atium, and then the Well of Ascension was preservation specifically.
And so cultivations is at the peaks. She says there's supposed to be another one, but it's unpredictable and randomly appears in different places. So my guides warned against trying to hunt it down. So what? I guess we know that Honor and Odium are both around here somewhere. That could be one of theirs.
Well, the moving one, and like the Stormfather is, like basically what's left of the concentration of Honor's power. That would explain it moving with the high storms.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. So maybe Honors makes the most sense there. That's a good point.
Unless he's dead and his perpendicularity went with him. So,
Hmm.
Oh no, even like on fucking Cell, like Devotion, Dominion were both dead, but we saw Hoyd jump into a perpendicularity. Yep. So
we saw him jump into that pool near Elantris. We saw them dump another guy in there, honestly, and just kind of like evaporated or whatever.
That's right.
So
it shouldn't matter if the shard is dead and splintered.
There was one in Sixth of the Dusk on the Pachi Island too, and there was no shard there.
No, but we know that was Autonomy seeding the place, so...
Oh, yeah. Autonomy had a version of herself there, so, yeah. So, anyway, that's... If we can get... It's always a pool. I wonder if there's a reason for that. But that's the only surefire way to cross over is we go to the Horn-Eater Peaks, hundreds of miles from here. And they're like, okay, like, Adolin stops, like, okay, this raises a question, actually. So, that's the soul of my shard blade. Syl is Kaladin's, Pattern is Shalon's. But you have a sword on your belt that we thought was a shard blade. Are you a Knight Radiant? No. So you're a Herald then. She's like, what? No. Aren't those like gods or something? No. I'm just a woman who has been constantly out of her league since adolescence, trust me.
That at least sounds like Vivenna.
I could see that, actually, yeah. She says she can't summon or dismiss hers here because her blade is flawed. She's a handy weapon, but a pale copy of what you carry. And so apparently on this side, there are Spren who sail ships all around, in and out of cities on this side. And I love it. Callan's like, wait, you guys have cities? And Syl's like, well, yeah, where did you think we lived? Light Spren like to sail all over, peddling goods, trading with other Spren. You're supposed to watch out for cryptics. And Pattern goes, yeah, we're very famous. I love Pattern.
That's great.
And Adolin's like, okay, but can we soul cast some supplies? And Shalon just goes, I don't think that would work. Like, if I change an object's soul here, it'll change in the physical realm. And Azure says, now you got to make it to like a port city. There are humans that live on the other side, and there's access to food and water at the cities. And you can trade with that stormlight you have. Maybe we can buy passage to the peaks. And Kaladin is upset that we're not going back to Alethkar right now. And then something bad happens. There's a sound, a lot of sounds actually, a screech that sounds like steel grinding against steel. And Kaladin's like, what is that? And she's like, you remember when we talked about we need to not attract the wrong kind of Spren? Yeah, that's the wrong kind of Spren. Let's get moving. And then we get an illustration of the different kinds of Rosharan wines, which we talked about a little bit before from this illustration specifically. I called out some stuff to you.
I like the little the little notes. Like, I've had milk that got me more intoxicated or whatever it says.
Yeah, then the pink wine. The pink is the least intoxicating variety.
Don't be a snob, Naz. They're just working on their zero alcohol game. That's commendable.
In order, you've got pink. What does it say? It says floral,
Aids alertness.
Yeah. Orange is fruity with notes of ginger. Yellow is bold and deep without guilt, whatever that means. Auburn, spicy taste with an earthy aroma. And Naz's note is made from fermented fruit, similar to grape wines that we're used to. Red is flavorful with a pleasant burn. Sapphire, nutty with hints of honey.
So is sapphire like a mead, I guess?
The note Naz says it tastes like whiskey.
That's true.
Yeah, it says, depending on the infusions, traditionally taste the most like whiskey of any of these. Then you get to blue, complex notes of berry and lemon, and violet is the strongest, spiced sandalwood aroma. They also have cider and Horn Eater Lager, responsible for that embarrassing tattoo of mine.
Okay.
I want to see it now. Come on, Naz.
The tattoo artist is like, yes, I make many of these for Axis the Collector. I don't know why the tattooist is a Horn Eater, but
you know,
I guess Horn Eater Lager.
I love how long we've gone, like hearing about all the different, like just hearing the wines referenced. We never get any details on them, and finally, it's like, here's where we lay it all out for you.
Yeah.
So this is one of my favorite illustrations of the book, I think, just because it's something that has just been a presence this whole time, and finally we get all the information we want, more or less. The next chapter, A Small Bottle, is our flashback to 7 years ago. Dalinar wants some alcohol. What is this, soup? Fuck soup! Starts dumping all his clothes out on the ground like, I gotta find some alcohol. He's losing it, man. Wait, do I need to be presentable? Is the hunt today? No, wait, that was weeks ago. Like, he's not in a good place. And then Adolin comes in. It's like, we heard a commotion, sir. We thought you might need help. I need nothing. Get out!
Wow, it's rough.
Yeah. And then it says a hand fell on his shoulder, and he hears, Father? It's like, Adolin, so help me. But no, it wasn't Adolin, but the other one.
And that just says it all.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know his name. I don't know how old he is. He's just the other one. The heir and the spare.
Renarin had returned, timid as always, his spectacled eyes wide and hands trembling. And he's got a little bottle. I got you one with the spheres the king gave me, because you always go through what you buy so quickly. Gavilar hides the wine from me. That's why there's none left. I couldn't have drunk it all. And Renarin steps up and hugs him. And Dalinar flinches, bracing as if for a punch. They talk about you, but they're wrong. You just need to rest after all the fighting you did. I know, and I miss her too. He goes, what did she tell you? What did your mother say about me? The only honest officer in the army, the honorable soldier, noble like the heralds themselves, our father, the greatest man in Alethkar.
Oof, that's a punch to the gut.
For real. Dalinar thinks, what stupid words, and yet he starts crying and pulls Renarin into a hug. They should hate him. He deserved to be hated. And he's like, anything. I don't know how to get free of this. Help me. And he just cries and holds his son. And it's just, that one paragraph in particular, but the whole section is just like, every single time it gets me. Even sadder, I feel like, than the finding out what happened to Evie, which was honestly, like, overall that chapter is kind of scary. But, like, this is just sad. Dalinar's so pathetic, and his son still looks up to him. Our last chapter was Inescapable Void. We're finding out more about Yelignar. Had great powers, maybe all the surges combined into one, could transform any Voidbringer into an extremely dangerous enemy. Curiously, 3 legends I found mention swallowing a gemstone to engage this process.
So did Aesodan eat a rock?
I guess so. Like, that's what it sounds like, right?
That's what it seems like.
And apparently it, like, gives you all of the surges or makes you super powerful or something. Mm-hmm. We didn't see her do anything.
Scary as fuck.
But, yeah, it gives real meaning to it. Wasn't a rock. It was a rock lobster.
Oh, man. Okay.
Anytime she walks into the room, you just hear that dun 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 dun.
Our final chapter is back in Shadesmar, and they're being pursued by something they don't know what it is yet. And Patterns like, humans, you must stop your emotions. They are very inconvenient here. And so apparently these sounds are coming from Angerspren. On the other side, they look like boiling pools of blood. And Asher's like, yeah, Here, that's their saliva pooling as they drool. They're nasty.
Ugh.
Their saliva is the part that crosses over. How ridiculous. They're dangerous even to other Spren. How did we draw them? Nobody here was angry, right? Kaladin is pissed off. You know,
Kaladin constantly angry. Kaladin constantly angry Stormblessed.
yeah.
I like the guy, but his default emotion is anger.
Yeah.
The thing is, really, he's angry at himself.
Still anger.
And so Azure explains that there's lots of peninsulas like this one that we're on, which I kind of pointed out last time when we saw the map. It's like all the rivers are basically peninsulas on this side. And she says there's always a lighthouse at the end. We stop at them sometimes for supplies. And Syl's like, yeah, I remember that. It's very useful for ships. But it'll take a while. We'll have to hike for several days. And like for a moment, like Aylin's like, yeah, at least it's a goal. Like we have something that we're trying to do. And so they hike for a couple of days. There's not a whole lot happening except that we get some background. Yeah, she had a knight before Kaladin that she'd never mentioned before. He was an elderly man, kindly, but he did fight, and in one battle he died. And the thing was, she wasn't old enough or mature enough, I guess, for the bond. Most Spren survived the death of their knights. She got lost for a long time. And by the time she came back to herself, the recreants had happened, and most of the other Honor Spren were gone. She slept for like 1,000 years on your side, and the Stormfather found me and took me home, and after that he wouldn't let me leave.
As it gives context to when Kaladin thought he killed her in the last book and Stormfather being pissed.
Right? She says the Stormfather was foolish, as were the other Honor Spren born after the recreants. They knew something bad was coming, but wouldn't do anything. And I heard you calling, even from so far away. So she snuck out and hid among the Windspren by losing her mind, essentially, until she could find Kaladin. And then she goes, oh! And he's like, oh, did you remember something? No! Oh, as in, look over there. And there's a lighthouse in the distance. And that's where we finish our section. So, for next time, we're just doing 4 chapters, 96 through 99. And in case you want to do anything with the titles, those chapters are called 96 is Pieces of a Fabrial. 97, I think I would pronounce this Reno. It's like Rhino if you put an extra I right next to the first I.
I do love rhinos.
Chapter 98 is called Loopholes. And chapter 99 is called Reachers. So there you go. Predicaments. What do you guys think? Where are we going? What's going to happen?
Yeah, I don't know if we're going to stick with Szeth or not. But it would be interesting to kind of see, like, what is his training like? How does he change? So I'm going to predict maybe we see more of that. That would be great. The Shadesmar stuff, I don't know what this lighthouse thing could be. It would be interesting to me. I don't think it's going to happen. It would be interesting to me if, for example, they ran into, like, Elantrians or other people from other books. Don't think it's going to happen, but it would be fun.
Okay.
Spren. I want to go to Spren City real bad, so I hope that's where we're going. I hope this lighthouse is like, here, come to the Spren City. We've got food. It's delicious.
We got cookies.
Yeah. They say other humans do travel in Shadesmar, so maybe they'll meet other humans who are, getting some grub at the Spren City as well. But I just like this whole Shadesmar adventure, like, I want to go to a Spren City. It feels like it's going to be like a Spirited Away experience where they're all going to work in a bathhouse. It's going to be great. I would love that. That'd be so much fun. It'd be like a fun little diversion.
I want to see that. Sure.
We need money for transport. How are we going to get money? Let's work at this bathhouse. So yeah, all fun, interesting ideas, all things I think that could be potentially really good. So, but yeah, the potential for them like doing a fun little diversion. Of course, I do want to get through the story, so that's kind of it's not a joke prediction, but it's more of like that'd be fun. Don't think it's actually gonna happen, but I do want them to go to a Spren City, see some cool Spren stuff, and just get more information about like Shadesmar, the Spren, their nature. I want to see, hopefully we'll see what other Spren look like in Shadesmar, because Syl and Pattern obviously look different. She talked about how Pain Spren, like, you just see the pools of blood, but that's actually their drool. So I'm like, so wait, what do they actually look like? So it'd be pretty cool to see, like, the different Spren and their actual forms in Shadesmar. So yeah. Also, if they could learn more about, because they talked about the cognitive realm, or Shadesmar, but apparently there's like other realms as well. So like, what is that about? that'd be interesting to find a little bit more about that as well. But that's all I got this week. Hoping we get some fun Shadesmar adventures.
If there's gonna be some explicit crossover from other worlds and stuff, it does seem like this would be the place for it, right?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's where people cross over.
Yeah, that could be fun. I always like the crossover bits. That's the appearance of Nightblood at the end of Words of Radiance is one of my favorite little moments.
Yeah, it was a pretty cool moment. I would say like the Cosmere books as a whole, if we hadn't been able to like see the Hoids and then like some of the other stuff start to cross over, I don't know that I'd be nearly as interested. I love like big world crossover stuff, so the more of it the better for me. Like the Lost Metal I really liked because there was so much of it. I was just like, yeah, this is great.
Yeah. And even if we don't, just the learning more about Shadesmar is also going to be exciting because the only time we've been in the cognitive realm before now was really Secret History. So
yeah, learning about the cognitive realm, Shadesmar, I feel like that could only pique my interest more in like the worlds. So
yeah, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, I don't really know where we're going at this point. I feel like we'll probably see some more of Szeth when Nail finally comes back from whatever it was he was doing. Because I feel like seeing as much of him as we did in Edge Dancer, and like how big he's factored into Lift's story, and now that Lift is part of the Lift and Gorks are in Dalinar's coalition now, so it might maybe Szeth and Nail will play a part involved in that. Which that'd be fascinating, but as just an order of radiance, and they're just like, well, we have to accept this order of radiance, and Szeth's like, hi there. I'm like, do we though? Yeah, no, I agree. I'm chomping at the bit to see more of just like what Shadesmar is like, what happens in there on the regular that our protagonist will then find and discover. Yes, Spren City. I want to meet the people who are crazy enough to live over on this side and what their life is like. I feel like this is probably gonna be a great spot for a Chris or a Naz cameo, considering we met them in Secret History, hanging out in the cognitive realm, so that would track. But I want to meet like the Spren who sail boats and stuff. Like this sounds fascinating. Like I think I was kind of hoping for some of that stuff in these chapters, and we didn't really get it. So I'm like, yep, show me more, but show me what happens here, not just them trekking through the wilderness of it. So yeah. I don't really have much as to what's going on here. I just want to enjoy it at this point. I feel like that happens at the start of parts as we are here. It's like it's much easier to make predictions when you're about halfway through a part or coming up to the end.
That's fair. Yeah, I agree that you're kind of expecting like now that we're in Shadesmar, let's get into some of that Shadesmar stuff, and we had a couple chapters of them just kind of like sitting around in Shadesmar a little bit. So getting into some of the stuff will be interesting. I love the idea that you had that like we're gonna run into Naz and Chris here. That would be great. We've seen so much Naz like notes on maps and stuff at this point, and we just met him briefly that one time. Like I want more Naz for sure.
Yeah,
we at least got plenty of Chris in White Sand, right? Naz we've gotten very little of overall.
I think Naz we've only seen in person in Secret History, but we've just gotten all his notes and stuff, and that broadsheet story in Era 2.
Oh yeah.
But Chris she showed up in Era 2 as well in the flesh briefly.
Oh yeah, she did.
Yeah. Also, is Naz part of Allomancer Jack? Am I remembering that correctly?
It was the story. It wasn't the Allomancer Jack story. It was the lady who was like new Allomancer Jack or whatever, but she was gonna have her own.
She's like having some kind of like
stories,
love triangle or something with Naz or something like that. I don't remember.
She had a weird love-hate thing going on with Naz. Yeah, where like. They loved each other, but he stole the thing and was running off. It was a thing.
Yeah, I can't remember her name.
Her name was Nikki Savage. Is the like adventure version of her name. Her actual name is like Nicelle Sauvage, something like that.
Yeah, I was for some reason I had Ziggy in my head. I'm just like, no, not Ziggy Stardust. That's something else.
Yeah, that's a different individual.
But Nikki Savage is who the guy who's illustrated a lot of the maps and things. Isaac Stewart for Brandon. He's gonna I think he's going to be the first person other than Brandon to write a Cosmere
That's right. Yeah.
story, and it's going to be about Nikki Savage.
Yeah, I think they talked about that at that one convention I went to.
I vaguely remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
You guys
going to
told us about
be.
it.
I wonder when that's coming out, because that was like 2022 when they were talking about that.
Yeah, even at last year's convention, it was still just like something they were talking about. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, it's now going to be called Book of Nails, formerly called Boatload of Mummies.
I think Boatload of Mummies is a way better name than Book of Nails.
Yeah. A Book of Nails? Oh, okay. Yay. Boatload of Mummies. That sounds awesome.
Yeah, is Nail going to be in the Boatload of Nails? Because, I'd rather, like I said, I'd rather see a boatload of mummies. Sounds great.
The most recent thing in the wiki is as of September 2022, the first draft of the novel was complete. So that's been a little while.
okay.
Yeah, that's 3 years, man. It's a long time.
Anyway,
Maybe like for every edit they have to make of like every new draft, Brandon has to vet it and just like can't do any retcons in here,
yeah, I mean,
even accidental ones.
I imagine he will be watching that very closely. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's move into some emails, and we have 2 new patrons. We got a bunch of emails, and I'll pick a couple of them for us to do that. So our first email this time is from Matthew, and it says Shallan's powers versus mental health. Hey, Sanderlanche crew. I was listening to your discussion about Shallan's personality/identity issues and had some thoughts. The way I've always pictured Shallan's personality struggles is she's using her light weaving to express identity variations, but the two are independent of one another. So she has like this multiple personality thing going on and emerging kind of more and more over time. And when she uses her light weaving, it allows one of these other personalities to sort of take the wheel. It's not that the two are related, but they do, like, having both of them makes it function in a different way. It's essentially what he's saying, I think.
I don't know about that. I feel like there's some like internal monologue inside Shallan that kind of basically makes that not make sense. But
some of the details that he puts in here are kind of a little bit spoilery, so I won't go into too much of that. But basically, he's like, I've always believed that Shallan has evolved over time to where, like, Shallan dissociates from reality sometimes, but she still needs to do stuff. So, like, Veil and Radiant do the stuff for her. In Words of Radiance, she simply stares into nothing when Pattern is trying to get her to remember something from her past. So I guess we're saying that as opposed to just staring into nothing now, she's gradually becoming more functional, but in like a dysfunctional way. Interesting possibility. Also, you mentioned wondering the extent of Stormlight healing. I will remind you that Stormlight healing can exist independently of conscious effort, like Kaladin did when he'd been left out in the High Storm. So even if Shallan got that bolt through a different part of her brain, it's likely that she would have been able to heal regardless.
I remember he was like unconscious for parts of it, but I don't know. I think his body was still like using the Stormlight, even if he wasn't specifically doing it, like saying, "Hey, heal, body." Because
I think that's what the guy's saying. Yeah,
right. But what I'm saying is, I don't know if your brain can't send signals. I don't know that is the same
I see
thing.
what you're saying. Okay,
that's true. Yeah,
that's
like
a fair point.
Your brain, whether you're conscious or not, if you have like an injury or pain, your brain is still sending those signals.
Yeah, that's a good point. Sorry for the long email, but as a Lightweaver myself, Shallan is a character I love to discuss the nuances of. Thanks for the pod. A Lightweaver, wannabe Dustbringer, Matthew. P.S. Since I've been listening to the pod, I finished undergrad and am now halfway through grad school and have officially started teaching an English class at my university. So thanks for giving me something to listen to while I grade and lesson prep. Crab at thee. Well, good on you, man. Yeah.
Crab at thee, man.
Crab's boy, I say.
It's a long road going through your whole graduate degree. So good job.
Oh, I thought you were going to say it's a long road. I thought you were going to make a Star Trek reference there for some reason. It's like, why is he doing that?
Totally relevant to this moment. Yep. Okay, this next one is from Kendall, who says, catching up. Hello, Cinderlands crew. I just finished reading everything Cosmere in May and immediately went to reread, but settled for your podcast instead. Just kidding. I've loved being able to live vicariously through Dak, Jamie, and Joe, and being able to catch up on some things I missed the first time around. I can't believe how much you guys are able to predict so early on, and I've even filtered through old Discord messages a few times to see if everyone was as amazed as me. I just finished listening to your read of Elantris, and I'm very excited to get to Emperor's Soul, as that's probably the best short story I've ever read, and I may even reread it alongside you guys. Thanks for the years you put into doing this now, as it has kept my Cosmere journey alive and well. I have a very boring administrative job and listen to lots of audiobooks, so it's nice to switch it up with your podcast now and then. Also, hello future me, if you even read emails on the show anymore, because who knows how many you get now almost 4 years later. I'll probably email again when I finish, which could be anywhere from a few months to a year, since I listen to 1.5 to 2 times speed, depending on my attention level, and it's already taken months. Now, I have a few predicaments of what's to come in the podcast.
Oh boy.
There are now Radiant rankings for 5-star ratings. We have talked about needing to find something that we can do a Radiant thing for, but we'll
I don't know. We'll have to figure that out.
Number 2, Joe loves Spook and now speaks only in street slang.
Nope.
Incorrect.
Number 3, you guys had something to say on the speed I listen to. I get easily distracted and actually am able to lock in better when it's faster. Oh, we did mention that at some point. That's like, man, it must be tough listening faster.
Yeah, especially because I feel like I have trouble sometimes modulating the speed of my speech. There will be times when I talk slow, and then other times where I'm talking pretty fast. So I feel like that would be hard to listen. That's honestly why I don't listen to podcasts at higher speeds. I've tried it, and it always is like, wait, what did they say? And then I have to go back, and I'm like, I should just listen to this at normal speed.
Fair, yeah. I've never even tried it at higher speed, honestly, so I don't know. Maybe I would enjoy it.
Yeah.
It just makes people sound strange to me.
Yeah, that's true.
I can always detect when, like, they put Friends on TBS or something, and they speed it up a little bit so they can fit more commercials in.
Nickelodeon's worse. They all sound like chipmunks. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it bugs me. Even if they just speed it up a little bit, I'm like, oh no, I hate it.
Especially because like when Ross, a lot of the Ross jokes are like he gets real like high pitched and squeaky. So then when it's sped up, it's like terrible. It's like what is happening? Why does he sound like that?
Yeah, it's a thing. It's true. And I've said it before. I feel like it messes with comedy timing so much to like change the speed, but I don't know. Which in a sitcom is pretty important. Anyway, the number 4. You're also collaborating directly with Brandon to incorporate volcano magic into Ghost Blood's era. I mean, I wouldn't say no, Brandon. If, I know you're out there listening, obviously. So, give us a call.
Of all the podcasts about his things, he picked us.
Why not? Obviously, all of those are true, so can't wait to see that come to fruition. Sorry, I did not intend for the email to be so long. I'll just end with, you guys are doing such a great job working through these thick books. Can't wait to listen to even more. Wasing to the time of next, Kendall.
That's kind of something we haven't talked about in a long time. Richard, the thick book.
Thick books? Yeah.
Yeah.
Good old Richard.
Good old Richard.
This one is called Arklo, the Not Inquisitor. Hi, D's and J. Zach here. Just finished Edge Dancer, and I want to share my thoughts on Arklo, the name of the sleepless in that. At first, I believed he was a surge binder. Then, as the audiobooks described the holes, I guess the holes that are made from his things moving around, I was so effing sure he was Marsh. Anyway, as a Sparker, Marsh? Anyways, as a Sparker. I don't understand that sentence, honestly. I'm sorry. On another note, I realized today that I'm less than 20 episodes away from being caught up. I would like to ask y'all about a different author with a different take on their overarching book connections. And I refer, of course, to Mr. Christopher Paolini. Paolini? Is that how you say his name?
Yeah, that guy, yeah.
It says, The Inheritance Cycle, a quadrilogy, was my first fantasy series, and I've read those too much. My question is, have you heard of these books? And if you've read them, what are your thoughts? The Inheritance Cycle, I have heard of. I have not read.
I haven't read any of his books, not the dragon books he started with, nor those.
No, I haven't either. In fact, I honestly thought that the Inheritance Cycle was the Aragon series, but I guess I was wrong.
Oh, maybe it is.
It is, actually, yes. Aragon is the first book in the Inheritance Cycle.
Okay, there you go. I that's how little I know about it. I thought they were two separate things.
Yeah. No, I have not read those. I was like, I've had an idle interest, but haven't really made the time.
And it's probably, it's my fault more than the person I'm about to reference, but I'll tell you a story about why I haven't read those books. So the first of those books came out, I think, when I was in high school, maybe middle school. I can't remember. But I had a friend who was like super into it because he's like, yeah, this guy wrote this book when he was 16 and it's so good. And I was like, it just sounded super pretentious. And as a late middle schooler or early high schooler, I was like, that's stupid. I'm not reading those. So like I made that judgment then, and I just never I have never wanted to read them. Also, again, this is literally judging a book by its cover. I was never a fan of the artwork on the cover of the first one, and I was like, I don't really want to read that.
Yeah,
So,
don't judge a book by its cover, but you're gonna do it.
Yeah, and like I said, that's my fault. It's not anybody else's fault.
Yeah.
I'm sure they're good. I've never had an interest in reading them.
It's one of those that I'm like, I'll probably get around to it someday. But
It's one of those, like, they've always been in the back of my head, but then there are other series that have also in the back of my head, which I think I'm more motivated to. Like, you know, here's a fantasy faux pas for you. I am trying to, like, I haven't picked it up yet, but I'm just like, I need to pick up the Robin Hobb books. I haven't done those yet, which I know is like that is a that's one of the big fantasy.
It is.
Like,
Yep.
Checklist ones.
She was
So
at
like,
Dragonsteel last year.
Really?
Yeah.
Neat.
I don't know if she will be this year, but it was a big thing when people talking about it.
Oh, it would be.
She
Yeah.
was going to be there. Yeah. I read the original Farseer trilogy before like she's written a bunch of other books in that universe, I guess, before she'd written any of those other ones, when it was just, hey, this trilogy is so amazing, you should read it. Like early 2000s or whatever, I read that, and I thought they were fine. When it was actually not long after I read them that she came out with like the next one or two books in that would be like 2008 or something, maybe, I don't know. And I was like, I liked them, not enough to continue into another trilogy of them. So those are the only ones I've read. Not bad, but yeah,
that's fair.
But definitely probably something, yeah. If when you get the opportunity, you should totally read at some point, since it's just part of the zeitgeist of the fantasy genre at this point.
Yeah, and you know, sometimes it doesn't work out. Like I picked, like, you know, I've spoken before about I picked up the Wheel of Time, and I did not get. I didn't even get to the part of the series where the fans said it starts to get slow, because I'm just like, Jesus Christ, it gets slower than it is now.
I couldn't make it through the first like 3 chapters of that.
Yeah. Honestly, that's what I was just talking about, where it's like, that is why I read Wheel of Time. Not even because it's like I like Brandon's stuff and he finished the last 3. It was Wheel of Time is such a like kind of seminal touchstone of the fantasy genre, the modern fantasy genre, that I was like, I have to read it at some point, right?
Yeah, that's why I went up picking it up, and it was like, well, everyone says this is one of the big fantasy series, so I'm a fantasy fan. I should read this, right? And then got to the end of book 4, I'm like, yeah, I'm done with this.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't love it. I didn't hate it or anything, but it's I don't know that I will read it again. Maybe in another 10 years or something. But let's do one more. We have another short one that we can do, because we've got like 10, 11 emails in here at the moment. Yeah, so this one is from Snot Ninja. It says, so I'm current with the pod now, have been for a while, and it makes it actually harder to email in, as a lot of the time I listen at the start of the workday, and when I have time to email, I can't remember what I wanted to say. Anyway, to Dak and Joe, I love your deconstruction on Azure. It's amazing. To Data, there were a few times this episode where I was chuckling at your clever words of hiding.
Uh-oh.
Since you guys don't know what episode that was, I guess it's fine.
Well, okay, he specifically names like me and Joe, so we can assume it's one of the days Jamie wasn't there, and we're doing a breakdown on Azure, so it's recent. So I could detective my way into if I could find the time, which I probably can't.
Words of hiding.
I like the way that's phrased, though. Words of hiding. That's fun.
Yeah.
For the meme about love triangles, the last one is Shallan, Adolin, Kaladin. Not really siblings, but the fandom loves to call Cal Dalinar's favorite son. Especially because
we know what episode they're talking about.
Yeah. Especially because he always forgets about Renarin. Anyway, keep up the awesome work. I can't wait for the big reveals to come.
Ronaldo. That's was that a joke we made at some point where we were just going to start calling him different names because nobody remembered his name?
I do not remember, honestly.
That might have been a Way of Kings thing.
Raymond, Ronaldo, Rory,
Retragon.
Retragon.
You know,
that's not even a word. What am I talking about?
Yeah, Raiden.
Let's do this one more
other books.
Super short one, because it's got a 5-star review for Joe to do a thing for. This person says, here's my 5-star review, and they send a picture of their 5-star review. I'm at the end of Way of Kings right now, and I'm loving the show. I love listening to the unique takes you guys have. Brandon has always been my top author, and that has not changed, but Joe's slight pessimism has shown me that Brandon isn't perfect. Don't get me wrong, I think Joe is the best, but he doesn't hold back. P.S. I really hope that you guys are doing Radiant Powers now for reviewers, but I'll take what I can get. Yeah, sorry, we haven't made that switch.
Yeah,
In
we're
our
gonna have to figure
defense,
that out.
we still don't know what they all are.
Yeah, that's true. Once we know what they all are, maybe what I'll do is just if you do a 5-star review, you'll get both. Maybe.
We're gonna do the quiz at the end of this book, and that should give us a lot more information on the different Radiant orders.
Mhm.
So after that, we can try to figure out something. I don't know.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah, we'll figure out something for it.
Details to come.
Yeah.
Hey, you're like my favorite twinborn, except you may not have a fairing power yet. Sorry about that. You're a coin shot.
Coin shot's a good one. Yep.
Yeah.
So thanks to you guys for emailing. If anybody else wants to send us an email, the address is thesanderlanch@gmail.com. Find us on Instagram and Facebook and Patreon, where I am still posting my reactions to Wind and Truth. We're almost at the end of that. I think I have like 3 more episodes of that left to go at this point. So we're getting close to starting Isles of the Emberdark on the Patreon, which I've recorded a couple more episodes of at this point. So I've gotten to read a little further into that. But we also have 2 new patrons since last time. And so let's talk about those. The first one at the ska level is, I want to say it's pronounced Orzhov. Orzhov.
Orzhov. Okay. Orzhov, you can be a skimmer. You store physical weight.
Nice,
Keeping with
nice.
the Waxilium Ladrian theme.
Yeah. And our other new patron at the ska level is Tim.
Tim, the Enchanter? Let's see. Tim, since you reminded me of the Enchanter, we can make you what would be a good Enchanter fairing power? Let's see.
I was about to say, where does that go? Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, that's a good question. Maybe I shouldn't be trying to do that.
Maybe connection?
Or energy. Let's make you a subsumer. You store
Okay.
energy.
There you go. So thank you guys for joining the Patreon. If you're interested in hearing me ramble the first time I'm reacting to these books, you can check out the Patreon. And if you join up, Joe will give you a fairing power. Just like if you leave us a 5-star review, you can email that to us at thesanderlanch@gmail.com. And he will assign you a misting power, jumping you into the misting crew. So check that stuff out.
As I do.
Also, for anyone who has not yet heard from the previous episodes, we have, I have a second podcast that we started in the Sanderlanch Podcast Network. So if you're a fan of the Dungeon Crawler Carl books, you can check out Don't Gaslight Me, Jesus, the new podcast that we're doing there. I think the first 4 episodes are up at this point, and or the first 3. And if you listen to one of the more recent ones, you can hear an email from Joe.
That's right, because I'm not on the show. So if you don't like me, you're in luck.
So check that out if you like that show, or if you like those books. If you like that show, that's also good.
Yeah.
But and Dak, you had something new come out. Did you want to mention?
So yes, I mentioned before the X-Men, the audio drama I've been working on. Recently had a new episode drop wherein we brought in Mojo, the biggest X-Men villain of them all in size, if not in scope. Very, very, very. I don't want to say controversial because I don't think he really is, but he's definitely you either really love him or you really hate him villain. So
Yeah.
The guy in charge of the show, honestly, he never wanted to do Mojo, but was convinced by a few people. And then he's when I said, "Hey, I'll write that episode," he was more than happy to say, "Yeah, fucking take it away from me." But then I wrote the episode, and then he said, "All right, I never thought I would say this, but between the script that you wrote and the guy we had voicing him, I've become a fan of Mojo." I'm like, "Yes, we won!"
Wow, look at you.
So people can enjoy that, and it hasn't actually dropped yet, but it will have dropped by this time tomorrow for us. So by the time this episode comes out, it will have dropped. The X-Men show has a sister show, Avengers, the audio drama, which for the most part is Avengers, but they'll try and bring in as many other non-X-Men Marvel characters as they can. They came to me and said, "Hey, we've liked the stuff you've written for the X-Men show. Would you like to write just sort of a spotlight episode for us on on a character that isn't really due to appear in the Avengers show, who doesn't actually become a member of the Avengers?" And I've gone, I'm interested. what would you like me to do? And they're just like, honestly, we're happy for you, whatever the fuck you want. I'm like, okay. So, and I knew probably who the most in-demand character for that would be, so I wrote a Daredevil episode for them, which is dropping, Daredevil Roulette. So by the time this episode comes out, it will have come out. So if you look for Avengers, the audio drama on YouTube or any of your podcast feeds, that will be there. And if I may toot my own horn for a bit, I think it's one of the better scripts that I've written.
Very nice. You know they must really appreciate your writing when they're like, we want you to do something for us. Whatever you think will be good. We trust.
Yeah. Yeah. I was like, oh wow. It was very gratifying. I was like, well, I'm doing something right.
Yeah, exactly. When we recorded this last Tuesday for the Dungeon Crawler Carl show, Mike mentioned that he did a voice.
Yes, he's in the episode.
And so we're like, oh, you want to like, give that a little pop on here and encourage people to check it out. And he's like, I don't know. You know what? For Dak's sake, yeah, let me he deserves it. And I was like, okay, there you go.
Yeah, no, he often will help proofread my scripts when I get just to make sure I haven't completely fucked the thing up. And he actually got a co-write credit on the Mojo episode because, like, Mojo is a weird and ridiculous character, and Mike has the uncanny ability to take, like over the top comedy and push it even further towards the line. But so
I believe that, yeah.
Because I had one bit where, it cuts back from a previous scene and Mojo's about to send the X-Men into their death battle arena because that's what he does, and he opens up by yelling previously on X-Men, like as in the cartoon. And I thought this is fucking shameless. I don't know if I'm going to get away from this. And then Mike proofread and it's gone, you know what you could do? What? Have theme music as they walk into the arena, and it's the cartoon theme song. I'm like, oh my god, we could totally do that.
I love this. This is great. It's funny because you're talking about Mojo. I don't think I've ever read a comic with Mojo. The only place I know him from is from the classic X-Men TV series, and then he made an appearance in X-Men 97 more recently.
Yes. Yeah, he did.
So that's the Mojo that I know. I don't know how reflective of the comics that is, quite honestly.
Look, it's fairly accurate. There are bits and pieces where it goes a bit darker, and I did try and incorporate a bit of that into the script as well. But yeah, Mojo's an odd character. Whatever your opinion on him, he's fun as fuck to write because I could just put the most unhinged shit in his mouth, and it was perfectly in character.
That I believe. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yep.
So yes, check that out on YouTube, y'all. Both of those shows, if you want to. Beyond that, just remember we are doing 4 chapters for next time. That's chapters 96 through 99. If you're following along, read those. That's what we'll be reading. At least I certainly hope that's what the rest of the gang is going to be reading, because that's what I'm going to be reading. But
no, honestly, it was gonna pick up Frugal Wizard instead, just to fuck with my head.
I'm just gonna start reading Wheel of Time, and I'll just talk about that on the show.
Feel free to read Wheel of Time if you really want to, Joe. I will not. We'll just have to cut you off when you start talking to us. And Rand, wasn't it funny when Rand and Matt did this thing and we're like, yeah, okay.
And it became less funny when they repeated what they did 50 fucking times and talked about it all the time. I think I actually messaged, I can't remember if it was to you or to Chris when I was reading it, but like got to one bit where 2 characters met and they're just like, oh, I think I've met you before. I think I've met you before too. And I think it might have been you. I messaged just like, great, can't wait to hear them talk about that conversation and repeat those exact same words another 50 fucking times.
I don't remember that, but it could be. It's been a while now since you were reading those, and
yeah,
so who knows? But yeah, it's
like no wonder the books are so big. They repeat the same dialogue endlessly.
And yeah, you're right. You didn't even get close to like the slog, as it's called. So
yeah.
I don't blame you necessarily. Anyway, 4 chapters for next time. Music by Miracle of Sound, and Wasing to the Time of Next. Colo, P.S. Fasher. Crab at thee.
Corona's wide, supernovas die, fractured in the fateful fall of man. Feel the heart raging of a strength unseen. Unity will bring the upper hand. So look to the break of dawn, to the break of dawn.
Then we lost it. Wow.
We
Yeah, I was
we
like,
lost.
We
her.
lost it. Like, wait a
We
second, that
did?
sounded bad. I don't want somebody to take the wrong thing from that.
But also, it's like we lost her, but I'm still here because like I just don't give a shit.
Zach's got nothing better to do.
I don't need to grieve.
Oh boy.
I just put that on the same level. It's like we had to skip a week and then somebody died. But what are you gonna do? You know?
Yeah.
Oh god.
But the show must go on.
She went to Shadesmar, or like I'm calling it, the Shadow Realm.
No,
these-
it's just like Yami Yugi every time.
Yeah. Who's Yami? If you're gonna pick a Yami Yugi in this book, who's Yami Yugi?
Oh man. Like I feel like I have to go with like Dalinar, but it's like but Dalinar's like actually Yugi. Yami Yugi is like the Stormfather.
Yeah.
Oh, I could see that. I was gonna say like my mind immediately went to Taravangian is Bakura because dumb Taravangian is nice Bakura and smart Taravangian is evil Bakura.
I like that actually. Yeah, that's. I did a meme for the Instagram one time about how Marsh is Bakura, but yeah, I like this idea.
Mm-hmm.